Listen, big news in the NFL, and join us to go through it all. The English games have been announced that will take place. The games from the NFL that will play in England have been announced today. So to go through it, we've got Brian Smith, American sports writer, here with us in the studio. Good afternoon.
Thanks for having me, as always. I really appreciate it.
It's good to have you. And also NFL UK GM Henry Hodgson is with us on the line. Good afternoon, Henry.
Hi there. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
We're good.
So, should we find out which teams are playing and where they're playing?
Henry?
Henry?
Yeah, oh, yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
I didn't know. For me, yes, that
You're
sounds
on
like a great place to start.
Sorry, Henry. It's my fault. I should have said Henry, your name. Go on.
That's all right. So, we have 2 games at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We've got the Minnesota Vikings playing the New York Jets here. And then a week later, on October the 13th, we've got the Chicago Bears hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then a week after that, on the 20th, the Jacksonville Jaguars will move off to Wembley, and they're hosting the New England Patriots. So 3 exciting games, teams with some superstars from across the NFL, and really looking forward to October now that we have these games announced.
Just around the corner. Also, the Jaguars being given back-to-back games in London again. Does this make them like London's team? Are these the ones we have to support?
That's certainly been the effort that they've been making over the last decade plus. They've been playing games here on a regular basis, and they've made that commitment to really sort of grow the sport and grow their brand here. So, yes, last year was the first time they'd played back-to-back games, and they won both games. So I think that certainly led to them being excited about trying to do that again this year.
It's going from strength to strength here, isn't it? I mean, the clamour for tickets and all this sort of thing is just growing, isn't it?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of growth, and the games are obviously an integral part of it. But we have a number of other programs that we believe are helping us grow the sport in this market. Kids playing flag football in schools across the UK. We've obviously got some exciting British and Irish players actually playing in the NFL, and those have come through programs we've been running. So for us, as we look to grow the sport and grow the fan base in the UK, the games are a central part of it. But there are a number of other sort of hooks that are really important for us to continue growing.
Brian, what do you make of all this as an American? Are you pleased to see the sport over here?
Oh, it's fantastic. I was at the Tottenham Bills-Jaguars game last year, and I've covered 200 NFL games in the States, Super Bowls, playoff games, et cetera, et cetera. I thought the crowd at Tottenham was absolutely fantastic. There were incredible energy. One of the coolest things I've seen in London, having been here for a year, is when you're taking the tube up there and you're not just seeing Bills and Jaguars jerseys, you're seeing jerseys for every quarterback in NFL history, all the teams. It's clear. I mean, the NFL eventually the NFL wants to have a Super Bowl in London. That's the ultimate goal. It still feels like it's 5-10 years away. But the next step to getting there is having every team play an international game, not a home, but a home or away situation. They're getting close to that. You're going to have a game in Brazil this year to kick off the season. It's going to be exclusively streamed on Peacock. They're back in Munich, Germany, playing at Harry Kane's international home. So this is the NFL taking the next step, and we can maybe get into this later, but it's what the Premier League is trying to do by pushing games over into America, which they're now going to push that. The NFL's ahead of that. So the NFL will have 5 international games. I think it's absolutely fantastic that the 2 biggest leagues in the world, Premier League and NFL's ahead with the international push.
Henry, how have you sold this to the fans? Because, there are only 8 home games for an NFL season ticket holder. How have they been able to accept this? Because I know here, fans get a game taken away from them, they are not going to be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose partly because this has been happening since 2007. I think there's an acceptance and understanding that this is the case. There are actually, to just clarify, there are 9 games. There are 17 games in a season, so every other year you play 9 games. And really what it means is currently once every 8 years, you may lose one of those home games. That number is going to increase. They're actually going to get to a point where we'll be able to play 8 international games a year, which means that it'll happen twice as often. But I think there's an understanding and an acceptance in general that the NFL is trying to grow globally. That's going to continue to make the sport better, and so I think fans understand that that's the case, and it's going to continue to happen.
I was just going to ask that then, Brian. NFL purists, are they cool with it? Because quite often when we talk about the idea of the Premier
Sure.
League having games in America. It's like, well, how does this impact the fans? It's unfair in the fans that won't be able to do that or travel or have that expense. But do you lot seem positive about it reaching England and beyond?
Yeah, so the team that I used to be a beat writer for and a columnist for, the Houston Texans, they played in London a couple years ago, and the fans absolutely loved it. I think for the fans of those teams, because you're doing it, Jaguars are a little different, right? They're doing 2 games a year. I'm sure the fans have a different perspective. But if you're a Bears fan, this is your shot to come to London. If you're a Jets fan, this is your shot to come to London. And they make it an experience. They love everything about it. They come here and spend the week. And so I think fans, even though, and you're totally right, they might give up that 1 home game a year, but they see all the added benefits. The other part of this, and this is the big thing, is the NFL has, Roger Goodell has said this, they've taken over America. Like, the NFL owns America. The next step for them is the world stage, just like Premier League. And so they just see money. They see revenue. They see expansion. And so the fans understand that, right? They want their team to be the biggest and the best, and they buy into that. It's a little of the Americanism, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they understand that, hey, if the NFL is going to continue to expand and be the biggest sport in America along with Premier League, that this is how you do it. They're willing to give up 1 game every few years to have the chance to come to London, enjoy the greatest international city in the world, and see the Bears, the Jets, the Jaguars at Tottenham.
And we should ask Henry, if people want to get tickets, presumably they're still available, how will they go about that?
Yeah, we haven't gone on sale yet. What we do is we have what we call a sort of registry of interest, where you can register interest in getting information on when ticket sales will take place. So if you go to NFL.com/UK, you'll be able to do exactly that, and then get information when the ticket sales take place, which will mostly be next month.
Okay, Henry, just quickly before you go, any update on the rumours that games might happen in Dublin? Is that's happening?
Well, so what we're doing at the moment with the expansion to up to 8 or maybe even 9 international games, we're doing feasibility studies in lots of cities across Europe and indeed around the world. And as part of that, we're sort of looking at other stadia that could host games. Obviously, quite different in terms of field size and especially locker room space needed for NFL games. Is there support in that market from a fan base perspective? And then is there kind of the local government, et cetera, support? And I think, Ireland checks at least 2 of those boxes. College football plays a game every year in the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. So we know that that's viable. And actually Croke Park has also hosted an NFL preseason game in the past. We know that there's a huge fan base in Ireland. In fact, I just got off a call speaking to some Irish NFL writers who have a very popular show. So really the last box to look at is sort of what's the desire of the government there to support the NFL doing something like this. And on top of that, we also have 3 NFL clubs that are invested in growing their fan base in Ireland. So we have the really important support that teams want to do this as well. So, we'll then put that in the mix with the other cities that same sort of viability studies taking place in, and whether it's in the near term, medium term, long term, be able to assess whether Dublin is a city that will get an NFL game,
especially with the American Irish
Yes,
contingent
sure.
there. It'd be a good old party. Henry Hodgson from NFL UK, thank you so much. And Brian Smith, American sports writer, thank you very much for popping into the studio.
Thanks for having me on. I greatly appreciate it.
That was lovely. Nice wee chat. You like your NFL, don't you, Andy?
I worked on the NFL for Channel 4. Yeah, long time ago. I've done Super Bowls and all sorts. I used to know a lot about it, and not so much now.
The guy gets about. We've tied him down here, though. Brian, thank you very much. You're listening to H&J with Shebhan and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.